in my dissertation research, the women who actually moved most comfortably into sexuality in marriage were they actually were less likely to have gone farther than they felt comfortable with when they were dating, because their relationship to modesty, their relationship to their sexuality in their families was defined more through their relationship with God and who they wanted to be, not about trying to manage some man. Because when you make in your daughter's mind, or in your son's mind even, that men are the reference point, it entitles men and it teaches them to objectify women. It also teaches women and girls to reference boys and reference men, to say that they are the measures of their value and their sexuality and their worthiness. It's a horrible reference point. It's why I have so many clients, okay? Because it's designed to fail. When you actually equip a woman and a girl with the idea that her sexuality is a blessing, it's a wonderful thing, it's something designed to give her joy, be a source of joy, and to be a source of being able to love and be loved in her life, and that her beauty is nothing to be ashamed of, and beauty being in the whole of who she is, not in some superficial interpretation, but the essence of who she is and its beauty. And being at peace with that is to be modest, right? People that are modest, let's say that are wealthy, the modesty is that they can embrace or accept the gift, do good with it, but not go around flaunting their wealth or talking about their wealth or anything like that. That's immodest. So it's being able to receive the gift and be at peace with it and create good through it. And so when you are dressing modestly in the true sense of the word, you're not trying to shroud your sexuality or your desirability or your beauty, but you're not working it either. It's a self-respecting decision and respectful of others that would be defined by whatever context you're in. That how you dress at a ward barbecue is going to be different than how you would dress at girls' camp. How you would dress going to the beach is going to be different than how you dress in an exam, if the core issue that you're measuring is your relationship, is how respectful you're being of yourself and of others. It shouldn't really be defined by lines, I think. I mean, you might take positions in your family that are sort of basic expectations or standards around that, which I think is fine. But I'll say a little bit more about that in a minute. But the core issue is the issue of self-respect, and to not be so afraid of women's sexuality and not be so afraid of female beauty, because I think the more that men can be at peace with their sexuality, the more that can ease up in a way that allows for moderation and comfort with oneself. Again, I don't think sexual conservatism is a problem. It's a problem when you put the onus of that on girls and say they have to constrain their sexuality and their desirability to manage this cultural desire or wish. Like, we have made shoulders sexy in LDS culture. When we hypersexualize and want to cover, it becomes paradoxically much more the focus. So we unwittingly eroticize women a lot by being so anxious about the sexuality of their bodies. And so, but the good version of that is that being modest in the larger sense, but then showing more privately, it creates more meaning. I had a client who was in the Middle East doing some work there and had a colleague who was Muslim, always had her hair covered in their work together, and their relationship was getting closer and closer, and then at a certain point she took her head covering off. Now, this is a Western guy who had seen lots and lots of hair and never ever had eroticized it. But because of that meaning context, that this was, she was letting him in, letting him know her in a different way. And it was very, very arousing and very high meaning, right? And so, there is something beautiful about a kind of protection of modesty, that it functions as a way of making a distinction between you are someone special to me that I want to be in a particular kind of relationship with. And I think we lose some of that when we are too sexually liberal. That said, I still wouldn't go around telling people they must be modest, because then you're still regulating other people to manage yourself. as opposed to equipping women, for example, with the ability to think about what is self-respecting for me. How do I want to be in relationship to my body and my sexuality in a way that I'm at peace with, that I'm comfortable with who I am. And I would, be like, just less of popular culture you get, the better, because it's so much of that messaging around females must be sexy to have value. And give your girls lots of ways to demonstrate their value and their capacity to themselves. And beauty can certainly be a part of it, but don't let it be immodest in that it's a primary or dominant focus of their sense of self. That it's just, frosting on the cake of who they are and how they're developing.